So today is historically called Good Friday. If it wasn't for the coronavirus and isolation and all the rest of it, it would be the beginning of our long Easter weekend with Friday and Monday as days off work and a bit of a celebration and a bit of a party. But have you ever wondered why it's called Good Friday? I mean, it's not called Good Friday because we all get a day off work and the kids are off school. And it's called Good Friday because it's what Christians chose to name the day they celebrate Jesus' death. Now just think about that for a moment. Whether you're a Christian or whether you're not a Christian, doesn't that on initial hearing sound really odd, even cruel? Why would you name the day set apart to celebrate someone's death as good? As good. Particularly when that person was proven as the most loving, kind, compassionate, caring, wonderful human being who has ever lived. It's not like Jesus was a cruel dictator or behind genocides or did some horrific or horrible thing. He was amazing and wonderful and loved and fantastic. And the very people who have chosen to follow him, Christians, have decided to call the day that remembers his death good, as if it was something to be celebrated. We would have thought it should be called Black Friday or Grey Friday or Sad Friday, but it's called Good Friday. Now, why is that? Well, there's really a very, very good reason, as you'd hope to find, that Jesus' death, as sad and sorrowful and tragic and bad as it was, is actually more a good thing, more a right thing. I want to read something that Jesus didn't say, but actually with his very last breath, he just let out a cry of anguish. The very last thing he did, he couldn't even get a word out. And then see what happens after that, to understand why this day is so good. And actually to encourage you that it's really good for you as well. It's a day that you can say, this was the best day of my life because I found Jesus on this day as I understood why it's so good. Let me read. This is from Mark chapter 15. It says, with a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last. As he did that, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Let's just think about this for a moment. Jesus is on a hill, literally called the Hill of the Skull, Golgotha, where he dies. And as he dies on a crucifix, he lets out this cry of anguish and breathes his last. About 1.5 miles away in the centre of the city of Jerusalem was the temple, the religious heart of the people. And at the middle of the temple was a secret place called the Holies of Holies. It's where God was thought to dwell. And it was protected from anyone ever entering God's presence by a chainmail-like curtain that hung from the top to bottom about a handspan thick. No one could get through it. It was like a portcullis that blocked entrance to God's presence. Everyone longed to get into God's presence. Everyone wanted to be there, but no one could. Now, as Jesus dies, we're taken, the camera angle shifts, we're flown by drone from that hill where he dies to that temple, and as he breathes his last, that curtain, for the first time in thousands of years of history, is ripped in half. In fact, did you notice it's ripped in half from top to bottom? You normally tear a curtain from the bottom, don't you? You pull it, but this is God acting. He rips it from the top to the bottom, the curtain falls to the ground, and suddenly anybody can enter God's presence, and God's presence cascades out and enters everybody. Do you see why that is amazing good news? That suddenly the presence of the one who made us and loves us and cares for us and holds us in his hands, suddenly it's no longer locked away in some holies of holies, inaccessible behind a portcullis. But suddenly anybody can stumble into his presence. Anyone can go looking and find his presence. Anyone can know God because Jesus died. That's at the heart of why Christians historically have renamed the day that remembers Jesus' death as good, because it really is wonderful good news. It's the best good news there is. It's momentous news. It's greater even than the little grainy photo that shows the pregnancy is real, or better than the envelope that comes through the post and tells you you've got the promotion at work. This is amazing good news. That God and people and God can know each other because of what Jesus has done. And all you have to do is say, Jesus, I trust you. I trust that your death has torn that curtain, that God is no longer hidden from me, but accessible to me. I can step right into his presence by trusting Jesus. I hope this Good Friday becomes the best Friday of your life because you find Jesus today. If you'd like to read this story about Jesus from the Bible, then you just need to follow the link that's in the description below this video. And if you'd like to discover more about Jesus, what it means to follow him, being a Christian, or church life, then why don't you drop us an email at the address below.